Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Football Fives. I normally write down an introduction, but I'm completely ad-libbing it here. But today I'm joined by a very special guest. We're talking all things south of the country, and we're talking all things Spurs today with a man who is chairman of Talking Football, based in Bolton. Name is Steve Bell. How are you doing, Steve? Are you all right?
I'm good, Alex. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on, mate. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, no problem. I'm looking forward to it myself. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about Talking Football, like how it all started and what it's for? I mean, look, it's no surprise to yourself. It's been a massive part of my life over the past few months. It's been a massive help to me personally. Just tell us all a little bit about Talking Football.
So, Talking Football is an initiative that I came up with an idea, bounced it off a couple of mates about getting men together through football and giving them the opportunity to then come form connections and just form that kind of peer support. The idea was kind of born out of losing a friend to suicide in 2019, as well as my own mental health struggles, which have been quite dark. And football's quite a common interest to men, so I kind of thought, and it's a passion of mine, so I thought, well, let's put that together and see where it goes. So it's there to just help men with their mental health and their well-being in general. Yeah,
excellent. Yeah, like I said, it's been a massive help to me. Opened up to the group about a personal issue of mine that I'm going through recently. It's been a massive help. I've loved being involved in it. It's been absolutely fantastic.
It's been good to have you involved, mate. You've settled in well, haven't you?
Yeah,
It's like you've been here from day one.
Yeah, I've absolutely loved it. It's all come about because I still play five-a-side, and I keep getting this niggling itch to try 11-a-side again. And as a 42-year-old man, I think if I can just do a season, like in a vets team, just get it out of my system.
Yeah, like a midlife crisis.
Yeah, I think something like that, yeah. And I put a message on a West Orton Facebook group, and a shout out to Kieran Sumner, who I know as well. He messaged me and said, why don't you get involved in Talking Football? I haven't played any 11-a-side matches. I always seem to be busy. I've got, I think, next week, I think I'm free the in-house game. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Right, anyway, we're here to talk about Spurs.
Shouldn't take long.
Sorry? Shouldn't take long. So, how did you get into Spurs? I mean, from your accent, you're obviously not from round here. You're obviously from that area. Is that where it's all come about?
Yeah, so I grew up in Essex, Basildon, Essex.
Right, okay.
But majority of my family was Spurs. My nan's brother, I'm sure it was just one of them, had a season ticket out at Spurs in the 60s and that. And so he used to go a lot, and then he started taking my dad when he was a young lad. So obviously he got the bug, and me, our nan's brothers, the rest of them all supported Spurs. So I follow them because it was in the family. We've got a couple of Snides. You know what I mean? We've got a West Ham, a QPR, a Liverpool, but they're family. We still talk to them. But yeah, so it's just kind of gone from that. So it just followed in the footsteps.
Excellent. How long have you been in Bolton for now then?
22 years now.
Right, okay. So you don't go to as many games as you used to?
No. Well, to be fair, I didn't go to many down there either, especially as a kid, because it was during the height of hooliganism and all that.
Yeah.
And my dad always said, look, I'm not taking you to them. It's one thing to look after myself in that, but not looking after a kid. But actually, when I moved up here, I got a membership, Spurs membership. So I used to go to a lot of the games up here, because at the time you had Bolton, Blackburn, Burnley, Everton, you had loads. And then 2 hours south, you were in Birmingham
City,
for
United.
Villa and all that. Yeah, exactly. 2 hours north, you were at Newcastle, Sunderland. So I went to quite a lot up here. And then I stopped in about 2012. I took my name off it, because my lad came home. I used to take him as well, and he just said, I don't want to be a Spurs fan anymore, Dad.
Who's he supporting now?
He's Bolton fan.
Right, okay.
And when I asked him why does he not want to support Spurs, he said he wanted to support Bolton. And again, I said, why? And he just said, because they're my local team. And I thought, well, I can't argue with that.
No, it's fair enough.
I can't argue with that.
I'd probably went going with his mates and stuff like that.
Of course. Of course. So I go down to the Wanderers with him now and again to watch them. Right. For me, it's a day out with my son. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Obviously, living up here for 22 years now, I do follow their results and that.
Yeah.
But I am a Spurs fan. If someone said who do you support, it's Tottenham.
Yeah.
But I am a Spurs fan. If someone said who do you support, it's Tottenham.
Yeah, no, fair enough. So you've probably been to White Hart Lane quite a few times.
Yeah.
But have you been to the new stadium?
No, not yet.
No.
It's on the bucket list.
Yeah, it's supposed to be fantastic.
It's on the bucket list. Yeah.
I've only been to White Hart Lane once, and we played Spurs. It was the last home game of the season for Spurs. Harry Redknapp was in charge.
Okay.
We lost 1-0, and I've got a bit of a bone to pick with Spurs, to be honest with you, because they did a lap of honour and they did speeches, and Harry Redknapp did a speech and we all stayed. Well, not everyone, but a handful of Bolton fans stayed. And they did a lap of appreciation, clapping the fans, and they didn't acknowledge the Bolton fans.
Did they not?
No, they didn't. I was a bit peeved, I must admit.
Yeah.
But I love old stadiums, and White Hart Lane. I think it's probably one of my favourite of the Premier League stadiums I went to, because I seem to remember walking along White Hart Lane, and it seems like it went up and then kind of tilted out a little bit. Really bizarre, but cracking little stadium. So tell us about your favourite games or favourite goals and favourite memories from Spurs.
Blimey. Well, one of my favourite memories was the first game I went to.
Okay.
I think it was about 89-90.
Right.
And it was against Charlton. And we had Paul Walsh and Gary Lineker up front.
Nice.
And it was with it was a friend that I knew through football. He was part football coach, part referee, so I got to know him. Plus, he was a teacher at my school, so he got me and my dad a ticket. It was sat in the Charlton end.
Right, okay.
And my dad weren't too happy when I shouted, "Come on, you Spurs," in the middle of all the Charlton fans.
Is this at White Hart Lane?
At White Hart Lane, yeah. But so that's a fond memory. Another memory was taking my son there for his first game against Bolton.
Right, okay.
It's when I think it was Gary Cahill got sent off for bringing down Scott Parker.
Right, okay. I can't
I think
remember.
we beat you 3-1.
Right, okay.
I think we beat you 3. It was a season you got relegated.
Right, okay.
And then
the last time that we were in the Premier League.
Yeah. What other games? I think games that I've seen and watched. I've been and watched Spurs a few times at Bolton, and I only ever watched them win there once in the league.
Right.
Modric scored.
Yeah.
I think we beat 4-2. That was when Fabrice Mwamba came on the pitch and applauded all the fans.
Right, yeah. Okay, yeah. I think that might have been that season as well. That was that season as well.
Yeah, it was. It was that season. One of my favourite games though was probably the FA Cup semi-final in '91 against Arsenal.
Okay.
When we beat them 3-1 in the North London derby.
Right, nice.
Gascoigne's free kick, one of my favourite goals.
Right, okay.
The commentator said it's a bit far out for Gascoigne. Is he going to hit it? He is, top corner. Seaman was flapping. Nowhere near it. So, yeah, that goal. One of my other favourite goals was probably Glenn Hoddle. And I think it was his last game for Spurs at White Hart Lane against Oxford.
Right, okay.
And it was from an Oxford corner. And I think Richard Gough cleared it with a header and it fell to Hoddle just inside his own half. And as he dribbled up, 2 Oxford players came in. He just knocked it through the middle, ran round, one-on-one with the keeper. Yeah. I think the keeper's still looking for him, round in, and put it in, and he ran off kissing to the crowd. So that's probably... And the 4-4 against Arsenal at the Emirates. It was a mad game, that. David Bentley scored a volley from ridiculous distance. And then
I think I remember that goal.
Yeah,
I remember that goal.
That was a good goal.
Yeah. I mean, it's always a good derby, the Arsenal, the Spurs Arsenal. Obviously, a bit of rivals and that. Probably not got... I can't think off the top of my head what it's been like recently, but...
It's been closer.
Right, okay. Well,
it's been closer.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're games that stick out for me. And then obviously, a few weeks ago when we won the Europa Cup.
That
was a good one.
Well, we'll touch on that shortly. So, we've gone through favourite goals and games. I'll find those. I'm sure I'll find them on YouTube and I'll put them on the socials as well. What about worst moments then? There's got to be some North London derby that you've been annihilated in.
Well, there was one where we were 2-0 up and we ended up losing.
Right.
Well, that don't really narrow it down, does it, being a Spurs fan? Funnily enough, a worst moment, I was actually visiting up here for the weekend. And my brother-in-law said, come to the Reebok. So we went to the Reebok and we watched us against Sunderland. And Per Franson was playing for us. Right, so it was early. It was about 2001, 2002.
Right, okay.
So I weren't living up here then. And yous were 0-0. And my brother-in-law said to me, "What do you reckon?" And I went, "Well, you can see why you are struggling."
Yeah.
Half-time results come through. Tottenham 3, Man United 0. I'm getting. All the Bolton fans around me heard that, so we get talking. Final scores come in.
Yeah.
Man United won 5-3. I got loads of abuse from Bolton fans as I was walking out.
Was that at White Hart Lane? Or?
That game was,
yeah.
But like being here watching the Bolton game, all the Bolton fans that were around us talking to us were giving me a load of abuse as I was walking out. In banter, like, it was all good jest. So yeah, that one, probably the Champions League final in 2019. I was a bit gutted we lost that, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But it's it's just the life of a Spurs fan, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I suppose as well, one of the worst moments has got to be the Leicester Premier League win as well, possibly, because it was obviously between, at the time it was between you and Leicester. You finished third as well that season, didn't you? Which is it?
Yeah. Proper Spursy.
Yeah, a bit more.
Finished third in a 2-all race.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm hopefully going to get a Leicester fan on this series, and it was. I think it's one of the best moments in Premier League history.
Oh, without
as a neutral at
without
the time.
doubt, even as a football fan, it was brilliant.
Yeah,
it was absolutely brilliant, and it's the stuff.
But
like they go on about the battle at Stamford Bridge and how we lost the title there. We didn't. In my opinion, we didn't. Right. We lost it when we lost 1-0 at home to Leicester. Right. If we'd have won that game, we'd have gone a point behind them. But they beat us late on with a Robert Hoof goal, so they went 7 points in front of us.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was that game.
One.
But yeah, it was a bit gutting, but it was a fluke, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a fluke.
Yeah.
You know, so
I think it was a bit bittersweet because at least it was Leicester and not Arsenal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. No, absolutely. And I guess every football fan from sort of March onwards were just going, "Go on, Leicester, go for it." Do you know what I mean? As much as I was kind of going, "Just stay with them, just stay with them," you couldn't not want them to win.
No. I mean, at the time, I still am actually. I'm still an avid DVD collector. I've got a lot of Bolton Wanderers DVDs. I think I've got an England DVD somewhere, but I have got the Leicester season review.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, because I thought that is like I say, it's the most. It's one of the most important seasons in Premier League history.
Yeah. So they played without fear.
Yeah,
they played.
They did. And if you watch that DVD, you just saw that it wasn't a fluke. They deserved to to win it. They were
no, it was. But like, will it ever be repeated? Who knows? Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
it happens once a lifetime, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, it's not one that I'd say I regret. Obviously, it's like we had a chance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it weren't really in our hands.
No. Well, at least it weren't Arsenal.
Well, yeah, exactly that. Every club.
Yeah. Right, so let's talk about modern day Spurs then. So, Ange Postecoglou was manager last season, won the Europa League with a 1-0 win against Manchester United, which obviously a good moment for yourself, but then was sacked on the 6th of June. Now, I'm going to say something quite controversial now. A lot of people were up in arms about the sacking. I seem to remember Alan Shearer putting a tweet out saying, "Fuck, the game's gone mad," and this, that and the other. But it didn't surprise me in the slightest. Last season you finished 17th. 13 points from relegation. So, comfortable, but still 17th for Spurs.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I'm split. I can see why he got the bullet.
Yeah.
I can see why he did. But I also think they've used that against him in many ways. Bearing in mind, he was sort of managing with his hands tied behind his back with the amount of injuries. Yes, he could have been a little bit more pragmatic with his tactics. And the one time he did get it right, we won the Europa Cup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see why, but you hear Spurs fans, listen, I don't go and watch them enough to say too much kind of thing, but my opinion from looking in, a lot of Spurs fans want to see football played in a certain way and they want to be entertained. Unfortunately, I don't think you can entertain and win trophies.
No.
We just didn't get the balance. There was games where we should have put the entertainment on the back burner and dug in a little bit, So I can see why he did. excuse me. I think there might have been a few more things behind the scenes because sort of Christmas onwards, every now and then he'd come out with certain things, and I think that might have upset the chairman. And as we know with Mourinho and Conte, as soon as you speak out against the regime, you're gone, aren't you? I can see the reasons for it. I was a little bit disappointed because I liked him. I liked his honesty. I liked his interviews. I liked his ideas, albeit he should have been big enough to have changed at times. But I guess being a bit controversial here, we won't win anything. It don't matter what the manager is.
Oh, okay.
For me, in the 25 years that Daniel Levy's been the head of been the chairman of our club, we've won 2 trophies. And look at the managers and players we've had since then. And you're telling me that we should, all right, we've come close and we've won a Carling Cup or whatever it's called now. But I just, who knows? Thomas Frank's a little bit more tactical. I do like him as a manager. I've enjoyed watching Brentford since they've come up to the Premier League. So maybe he can bring a little bit more and take us that little bit further, get us back into the top half of the table. Like I say, I can see why he was, but personally I was disappointed because I liked Ange.
I mean, I liked him. Like I say, I like honest managers. Quite outspoken, but for me, for a team like Spurs to finish 17th is the writing's on the wall. The writing's on the wall, and it's the same. Funnily enough, I've had a bet with someone at work that I think that the first sacking of the season next season will be Amorim. I do think Amorim will, because I can't see how he can turn them around. I can't see how he can turn United around. And what did they finish? 15th, 16th or 15th? Only 1 or 2 above you. But it was a lot. There was a lot of outcry with Postecoglou, and I wasn't surprised in the slightest because
the difficulty with it is football fans and potentially owners to a point want instant gratification. They want instant success. Obviously, I'm not a United fan, as you know, but the reason United was so successful is they let the manager do it. And he built it, and he built it, and he built it, and they've never replaced that. The same as Arsene Wenger are down the road from our lot. Do you know what I mean? At Arsenal. And that's why they're struggling now. You have to, all right, there comes a point where you cut your losses and go, well, but is 2 years enough to turn things around? It's not.
No.
So, I feel bad for Ange. I feel bad for Amorim because they're basically playing with the hand they've been dealt with. It's not their team as such. But I don't know. I'm going to stick a bet on Arteta to be the first one to be sacked.
Oh, right, okay. Wow.
Well, their fixtures don't look good unless they buy a striker. I think
Right, okay.
I don't know.
Right. So where do you think you're going to realistically finish next season then? Top half? I mean, it's a very difficult question.
Yeah, it is.
Obviously, Thomas Frank's just been appointed. We don't know, do we? But
well, let's be honest. If we want to be moving forward, we've got to finish top half. That's got to be progress from last season.
Well, of course.
So if we do top half, anything above that's a bonus. It would be nice to see us back the trophy up. Be it a League Cup, be it an FA Cup, be it a Champions League. Do you know what I mean? But I think realistically, a top half finish with a trophy. I'd be happy with that, and I don't care what trophy it is.
No,
do you know what I mean? Because it shows that progression. We've gone up in the division, we've finished higher in the league, and we've supplemented that with another trophy. So that would be my opinion.
Right, no problem. Ears open then. Right, okay, so that's it for the first half of the show. We'll move on to the second half of the show now, and we'll talk about your ultimate five-a-side Spurs football team. Now, the rules are simple. You can pick any formation that you want. You've got to have at least one goalkeeper, at least one defender, at least one midfielder, and at least one striker. You can also pick a sub. And there must have been players that have played in your lifetime. So you've either seen them play live or you've seen them on TV. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorted, yeah? So let's start straight away with your goalkeeper.
Well, for me, it's got to be Hugo Lloris. As good as Ray Clements and that was, I didn't see enough of him. So I toyed with perhaps Brad Friedel. He was a phenomenal goalkeeper, but I think longevity as well. I think he'd done over 10 years at Spurs, Lloris. So for me, it would be Hugo Lloris in goal.
Okay. So, I mean, I know that he played a long time, 361 appearances between 2012 2024. I mean, he is, I'd say he's probably top 10 all-time Premier League goalkeepers. I think.
I think he's got an argument there.
Yeah, he's got definitely. Yeah. It's definitely on the periphery. So, Hugo Lloris. What I mean, it's a bit difficult with a goalkeeper because obviously, especially at five-a-side, you need the main thing is a shot stopper, and he's a fantastic shot stopper.
Yeah,
his distribution pretty good.
Yeah, fairly, as long as he don't use his feet.
All right, Matt.
He was better. He wasn't very good with his feet. With his distribution, he got us in a bit of trouble at times. But in terms of shot stopping, leadership, because he was captain and captain of France as well. He just seemed to have a fairly decent attitude as well. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't a ball. He would if he needed to, but for me, it would be Hugo Lloris in goal.
Still playing as well at Los Angeles.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, watched him in the Club World Cup.
And France, I didn't know this. I know he played for France. So it's 145 caps. Quite not rare that for a goalkeeper to have a lot of caps, but it is a phenomenal achievement. 145 caps. So I can completely see. I can completely see why you've picked Hugo Lloris. You mentioned Brad Friedel. The only other one that springs to mind, Paul Robinson, but you know.
Yeah, I toyed with him a little bit, but I think Lloris was better than them both.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. Right, so Hugo Lloris in goal. So what about what formation are you going for?
I'm going for a 1-2-1.
1-2-1. Yeah. A lot of people pick 1-2-1. There are a few people that go a bit different, but right. Okay, so you've got one defender. Who's your defender?
There's only one. The King, Ledley King.
Ledley King, right?
Ledley King, phenomenal player.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal player.
Let's get his stats up while you talk about him.
It's just a shame he had his knee injuries because for me he would have been an England international ahead of perhaps, I don't know, maybe not perhaps ahead of John Terry, but my personal opinion is he would have been ahead of Rio Ferdinand. I think he was a phenomenal defender, and you know, you listen to Thierry Henry talk about Henry, and he said he's one of the best he's ever played against. No. Do you know what I mean? And towards the end of his career, he weren't training. Yeah. He was just playing in matches, then spend a week recovering, and he was just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. 268 appearances, 10 goals, only ever played for Spurs. Mm-hmm. Only ever played for Spurs.
Came through our academy.
Yeah.
And he did hold the record for the quickest Premier League goal recently.
Right, okay.
Against Bradford.
Do you know how many seconds?
Oh, it was something like 9.7 seconds or something like that. I think it was under 10 seconds.
Right.
But yeah, it was scored at Valley Parade in about 2001, I think.
Right, okay. I'll have to dig that out. It's funny that you say about over. I mean, look, football's very subjective, isn't it? But I think that I'd put him over John Terry. I think Rio Ferdinand's one of the best defenders England have ever had.
I think Rio Ferdinand is one of the best ball-playing defenders, but I just think as a defender, Ledley King was just different class.
Yeah.
He really was, and it's just a shame he was cut so short. I mean, that's not a lot of appearances really when you think he came through the academy.
No, it's not.
It's just a shame he was cut short because of his knee injuries.
Yeah. So 1999 to 2012. So no, it's not really. You're right there, actually. You're right there. So injury plagued. Yeah. But I've never thought about that, whether he's only ever played for Spurs, to be honest with you. But,
he came through the academy.
Yeah. Fantastic. So Ledley King's your defender then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, excellent. So were those two choices quite easy then?
Yeah.
Yeah? Go on, give us one of your midfielders then.
Gaza. All day long.
Yeah. All
day long. There's a few other footballing heroes, you know, your Glenn Hoddles, your Maradonas, your Cruyffs. We've all kind of likened them and taken them and wanted to watch them. But as a 10-year-old boy, watching Gaza light up Italia 90 and the fact that he played for the club I supported, he was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. I've done 2 England shows. I did one in the first series, and I've done one. It'll be the last episode that I did before this one. And Gaz is the only person that's been picked for both teams, which is not surprising whatsoever.
No.
Played for Spurs between 88 and 92, 92 appearances, 19 goals. Just an absolute.
But if you watch them goals, they're unbelievable goals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They're just unbelievable goals.
Yeah.
Like, I listen to other podcasts that Gary Lineker does, and he talks about Gaza, and he says he would only ever pass you the ball if he knew you had no option but to give it back to him. Do you know what I mean? So, but yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah.
He single-handedly got us to the FA Cup final in '91.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he scored in most rounds. He was just, I absolutely idolised him growing up.
Yeah,
he was brilliant.
And a lot of demons as well. A lot of demons and a lot of personal issues. Maybe that made him the player that he is. Maybe he could have been better. Obviously, we're never going to know that. But
well, that injury took a bit away from him that he picked up in the '91 Cup final. He'd done his cruciate, didn't he?
Yeah.
With a shocking tackle. But but he was already on his way to Lazio. Yeah. Before that game, anyway, if you know what I mean, they'd already agreed the deal. But
yeah, and I remember when he went to Lazio as well. It was a massive event. Yeah. You know, it was huge, and I think that was when Italian football was shown on Channel 4 as a result of Gaza going to Lazio. Yeah, again, I'm not surprised with that at all. So another easy pick then.
Yeah,
Gaza.
Yeah.
Who's joining Gaza in your midfield? Oh, this one's not as easy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't as easy. But again, another one. It was one of two, and I'm still torn between them.
All right, okay. Yeah, you have got a sub as well, though.
Yeah, no, but I've already used.
All right, right. Okay.
For me, it was between Ginola and Glenn Hoddle.
Oh, what a conundrum to have.
And I went for Ginola purely for I saw him more.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't see. I've only seen Glenn Hoddle on YouTube or on highlight reels and stuff like that. But I've watched Ginola play live. I've also seen him on the TV a lot. So it would be Ginola. I mean, Ledley King's going to have a lot of defending to do. Let's say that, but it would be Ginola for me. The guy was just unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what a sexy man as well.
Right, okay, yeah. He is a very
But yeah, I loved him. Loved the flair that he played with. Whoever he played for, Paris Saint-Germain, when he was at Newcastle, when he went to Villa. I thought he was, again, just another brilliant player to watch, like a maverick.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm misremembering stuff. I never knew that he played for Everton. Never knew that he played for Everton. Only 5 appearances, but I never knew that he played for Everton.
Gaza played for Everton as well.
I knew that. So 100 appearances for Spurs between 97 and 2000, 3 years scoring 13 goals. I get, you've summed it up. You've summed it up perfectly. A bit of a wizard. Another iconic player, really, in the Premier League. You got quite a few iconic players in your team.
And the other thing as well is Arsenal were after him a lot when George Graham was at Arsenal.
Right, okay.
He wanted to get him from Paris Saint-Germain, and he never did. But obviously, we eventually got him.
From Newcastle.
I'm not sure if George Graham was ever the manager with him. Not sure, but I just loved everything about him. About him.
While we're on him, let's have a look at Glenn Hoddle. Because you 2 fantastic players that you're torn between there. 377 appearances between 75 and 87, 88 goals. What did you like about Glenn Hoddle?
Just the way he played the game, he made it look so easy. And I mean, what would he be worth now? And he'd be a luxury in a team. Whereas back then, if you were in midfield, you had to graft. You couldn't. You didn't have your flair players, and perhaps that's why he didn't get picked so much for England.
Right. Yeah. I thought he had more appearances. Actually, 53 appearances for England. I did think he had more than that.
But they didn't want them kind of players at the time. They wanted your Peter Reeds, your Brian Robsons. I mean, Ray Wilkins, another fantastic player who didn't get enough England appearances, in my opinion. But it was just the era. I've told you about one of my favourite goals, Glenn Hoddle scoring against Oxford. But again, one in the early 80s that I've seen. It used to be on the opening credits of Match of the Day against Watford, where he just received it, done a little Cruyff turn through his legs, chipped the keeper.
Yeah.
But it was his vision, it was his range of passing. I listen to him now when he does commentary. I like listening to him. I think he talks a lot of sense. I think he's wasted just doing commentary. I think he could be. I know there was the controversy with him in '98, but I just think his brain should be used more to help these younger English coaches coming through. I think they could learn a lot from him.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I just thought he was phenomenal. Again, he's from Essex. He's from Harlow. And then he left Spurs and went to Monaco, bought by Arsene Wenger.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So Arsene Wenger was the manager at Monaco at the time.
Yeah.
So he went and played under...
Yeah, not bad stats as well. 69 appearances, 27 goals between 87 and 91.
Yeah.
Then
he went to Swindon.
Yeah, I've just seen that now as well. I didn't know that either. I knew he played for Chelsea, but I didn't know that he'd gone to Swindon.
Yeah, he was playing manager when they came up to the Premier League.
Right, brilliant, excellent. That was your conundrum, Ginola or Hoddle, but you've gone for Ginola. Right, excellent. So, rounding off your 5, who's your centre forward?
Now, most people think I'm going to go for a certain record goal scorer.
Yeah.
But I'm not. He's my sub. Harry Kane's my sub.
Right, okay, we'll come back on to Harry Kane then. What a sub to have.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, one of the best strikers I've seen play for us and in the Premier League, Jermaine Defoe.
Right, okay.
Absolutely love Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah.
For someone that's 5'4", do you know when they look at all these big strikers now, he could finish from anywhere.
Yeah.
He was direct. I remember I went and watched Spurs against Birmingham on Boxing Day one year, and he picked this ball up and just ran at him and just kept going and twisting and turning and scored. And it was just, I just loved him as a player. Yeah. He played with passion.
Yeah.
He's done it the hard way, coming through the ranks, as quite a few of them did, going out on loans back then. And, but I just think he was a phenomenal finisher. And so for me, and I just enjoyed watching him.
Yeah.
He played like he was playing in the playground.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And a good, I know that you say about Harry Kane, we'll come on to Harry Kane shortly. But in terms of five-a-side, I'd probably go over Defoe, over Kane for five-a-side. Such an incredible player and a fun fact, not really a fact, but story. So when Big Sam, I can't remember when it would have been actually, just looking at his stats, I can't remember when it would have been. But I think he'd left whatever club he was at, I can't remember. And I remember saying, I think Big Sam should try and go for him. Because Big Sam had that thing to attract players. And I honestly thought, you know what, just try and go for him because he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Obviously,
wherever he went.
Came to Bolton.
Wherever he went, even when he was on loan at Bolton and Bournemouth, and even when he left Spurs and went to Pompey, with Peter Crouch, brilliant together.
Yeah. And he played 3 times for Spurs, so 2004, 2008, 139 appearances, 43 goals. Then he went to Portsmouth on loan and then was signed by Portsmouth. Then went back to Spurs, 2009, 2014, 135 appearances, 47 goals. Then went to Toronto FC.
Yep.
And then came back on loan to Spurs and had 2 appearances and 1 goal.
Yep.
Now, do you know what? Was that... Because the American... no, it's not even America, is it? Did they have a winter break? Might that have been in a winter break?
Possibly, because Henri came back to Arsenal around the similar time.
Larson went to United.
Yeah,
because he was
possibly.
So that might have been...
Possibly,
yeah. But I think I did think that you were going to go Harry Kane, and I actually forgot about Defoe, but when you've gone through Defoe, I think I'd do the same. For five-a-side, I'd definitely do the same. So, right, excellent that. So, let's talk about your sub then, Harry Kane. I mean, I'm not being funny, but if you've got Harry Kane on your bench, it's not a bad sub to have.
No, not at all.
Sub to have
not at all. Like I say, it was just a personal preference, personal choice why I went for Defoe. Yeah. I mean, Harry Kane, he's had a lot of stick.
Yeah.
not winning his trophies. Then when he went to Bayern Munich, it's the first season they've not won it for years. But for me, such an underrated player.
Yeah.
Off the ball as well.
Yeah.
He does a lot of... I know people look and get frustrated because he drops deep. For me, that works if he's got someone that's then going to run beyond him because his range of passing.
Yeah.
And his finishing is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. He's the all-time Spurs leading goal scorer, all-time England leading goal scorer. Do you know what I mean? You don't do that if you're a mediocre player.
No, do you?
And again, he's paid his dues. He's been out on loan at Millwall, Leicester, Norwich.
Yeah.
Got his chance under Tim Sherwood at Tottenham.
Yeah.
And he's never looked back.
No.
Leighton Orient. I think he went to Leighton Orient.
Yeah, Leighton Orient at 2011 on loan.
Yeah.
I mean, from Spurs between 2009 and 2023, obviously he had the loan appearances, 317 appearances and 213 goals, which is phenomenal.
It is. When you think of, like, we've not won anything.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's been bagging them in, at times, a struggling side.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was our talisman. He was without a doubt our go-to man. Without a doubt. But he could finish from anywhere. Yeah. With any part of his body.
Yeah.
You know? So,
And England's talisman as well.
Yeah.
107 appearances at caps for England, 73 goals. I mean, I'm just looking at, but obviously he's gone to Bayern Munich. 63 appearances, 62 goals. That is absolutely incredible.
If that's Haaland, everyone, if Ronaldo's banging them stats, they're all raving about it.
And a true professional as well.
Yeah.
A true professional.
On and off the pitch.
Yeah.
So like during COVID, he sponsored Leighton Orient.
Yeah. Fantastic.
He sponsored Leighton Orient so that they had a kit and it saved them with money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so he gives back.
Yeah. He gives back. He
was at Leicester as well on loan as well.
Yeah. In 2013. I mean, with Leighton Orient, he probably did that because he thought he owes them for part, building his career.
Exactly. Yeah. But then I know not everyone gets to see that kind of side, but that's credit to him because some think that they're entitled, if I'm honest. Yeah. But he's paid his dues and he's thanked them by doing a gesture like that.
Yeah, definitely. Did you know that he played for Arsenal in his youth career?
I did.
we
were skirting over that.
We'll skirt over that. Right, okay, excellent. So your five-a-side team, then the Spurs five-a-side team. Your goalkeeper is Hugo Lloris. Your defender is Ledley King. Midfielder is Gaza. Your other midfielder is David Ginola. Centre forward is Jermaine Defoe, and your sub is Harry Kane. That is a phenomenal team.
There's going to be goals.
Absolutely phenomenal team.
There's going to be goals.
That's incredible. Are you happy with that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few others you could have put in, but they're my ones.
Yeah. And you're pretty confident with all of them about your midfield, your second midfield, and you've gone for David Ginola over Glenn Hoddle. I mean, that's a good conundrum to have in itself, isn't it? So, right, excellent. What a fantastic team that is. Right, okay, so anyway, that's it. So thank you very much, Stephen. Stephen, it's calling you Sunday name. Thank you very much, Steve. Loved it. I'll get the show out. I hope all the listeners enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed doing it as well.
Yeah, I have. I've enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening to the show. Subscribe to the show on your podcast app of choice so you never miss an episode. Like and follow the social pages on Facebook and Instagram. And I'll see you next time for another five-a-side team. I've been Alex Cookman. This has been Football Fives, and that is full time. Take care.